Here are the differences in my bracket design. This is the first bracket. You can see I duplicated part of the stock Core 3 design. This is where the parking brake cable mounts, just to give it some extra structural rigidity. This part is super beefy, but with the angle of these, the caliper cannot slide in or out, which it needed to be shimmed. So that has no adjustability. That one is scrap. Second bracket design, opened up the space, got all the adjustability that I could want. This piece being so vertical now runs into the side of the axle housing at the end. This is just too far over, and I wasn't happy with how thin this piece was. My latest iteration, which I'm gonna run on this Cobra, much more beefy bottom support piece, as you can see. And this curve clears around the rear end flange from the axle housing end, while still giving enough space to shim the caliper about as much as you need. The final design that will be for sale on the website soon is slightly different from this one. The start of this support bar has been lowered by about 2 millimeters and been increased in thickness about 2 or 3 on this side. This allows for extra clearance. On mine, I had to grind a little notch in to give it some extra clearance, just because of the extra shim the core brackets comes with. It's a little wider than the normal Ford 9-inch, and it interfered a little bit right there. So instead of grinding on my axle that's already assembled, I just notched this out a little bit. The final revision, like I said, the DXF will be for sale. That has been moved in the design, and you will not need to do any of that kind of modification, probably in 99% of the circumstances. If you have to on yours, it's not a big deal. So here we're going to install the bracket. I've got it already in place, but as you can see on this one, I'm going to demonstrate where the notch is again. I spoke about that earlier in this video. This uses 4 14mm head bolts that are included with the Core 3 kit, and they are torqued to 40 pound-feet according to the Core 3 instructions. Now that the bracket is all torqued in place, we're going to install our rotor, so then we can move on to the calipers. Now we're going to start with the electronic parking brake caliper. The motor side is going to go up with the plug facing down. That's just how my bracket is designed. The assembly instructions here are basically useless because they say to reference the assembly instructions on how to install these and just keep sending you in circles. So We're gonna go ahead and torque these down to 40 pound-feet using 3 shims. The core kit comes with a lot of washers used for shimming, so you have plenty of options. If you are similar to my setup, it's likely gonna use 3 as well. Now, these zinc plated bolts that I have are a little too short because I didn't know that I was going to need to shim it so much. So these are going to be installed just for demonstration purposes, but I will be buying longer ones, using some blue Loctite and torquing them to, like I said, 45 pound-feet. Next is the caliper with the caliper abutment bracket pre-assembled. These bolts get torqued to 125 pound-feet. I will be using some blue thread locker on these as well. This torque sequence is in steps, so I believe I started out at 40 pound-feet and went up 20 foot-pounds each step until I got to the 125 recommended by Core 3. After which you can remove the caliper from the abutment bracket if that's how you want to change your pads. It's kind of up to you. It's a little easier because I think those pins only get torqued to around 40-45 pound-feet instead of breaking loose some 125 pounders, but that's up to you. Either way does work. As you can see here, I'm installing it without the pads because I'm just going to get it on, and I will be removing it from the slide pins to install the brake pads later. Tool tip I can recommend, these Eastwood axle housing chassis stands. I picked up 2 of them. They are good for 1,500 pounds a piece. They are fully adjustable width and height. You can turn the cups 90 degrees. So you can see on these, I have them left to right, but when they're holding an axle, they go front to back. Since this car should be between 2,000 and 2,400 pounds when done, complete with me sitting in it, I can use these indefinitely. Casters allow it to roll around real nice and just move the whole thing any way that you need to in the garage. I can just tuck it over to the side. Awesome, awesome purchase. I think they were under $200 a piece, if I remember correctly, but prices change. Check them out at Eastwood, not sponsored. just a really cool thing that helped me out a lot. All right, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. We've broken over 200 subscribers, which is incredible. And hopefully coming soon, we're gonna start digging into this.